He's the one.
If not, let me know. I'll check it out.
Start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alright, I guess we don't have any public comments, you can start. Whatever you want to call it.
Live stream.
Recorded, live stream. Roll call?
Alex Woods,
Here.
Michaela Conlon-View, Casey Weiss,
Here.
Jeanette Simonson. Here. Nick Helsted,
Here.
Iftikhar Memon,
Here.
and Caitlin Cunningham. Here.
And has this meeting been properly notified?
Yes, it has.
Comment. Alright, I would like to move 7.1 and 8.3 up in the meeting.
Sorry, Nick, 7.1 and
8.3.
8.3.
I'll second
All in favor? Say aye.
that.
All opposed? Motion passes. So we will start with 7.1. Focus on purpose, 9th through 12th science.
Hello. Do I need to talk into this for the live stream? Is that how that works?
Yes.
Great. I'll do my best. Alright, we're here to update you on our high school science things. We put together this little presentation to kind of go through a couple. I'm not sure who is in charge of clicking, but can we go to the next slide?
Brandon is our clicker.
Great. Quick big picture of things. We're going to try to go through these things a little bit more as we go, but the past few years, mostly in the past 2, we have been doing a lot of work with our course curriculum review, trying to redo our standards for our classes. We have new biology curriculum, trying to clarify our sequence of courses and get the NGSS all figured out for our standards for our classes and integrate the science skills that go with those. Okay.
Could I ask that you guys introduce yourselves just because?
Yes.
Is that in here later? I did not.
No, it's not.
Okay, perfect. Would you mind, please?
Not at all. I am Dave Wildenberg, our mostly physical science teacher at the high school.
And I'm Sam Figamiller, and I'm the new science teacher, mainly teaching biology and also wildlife.
Thank you.
All right. So for our course curriculum review, we've been just going through all of our courses, trying to figure out where is the NGSS aligning to those, the new Next Gen Science Standards, if you didn't know what that stands for. And then rewriting our guarantees to align better with that. Something really great that we wanted to celebrate as well that kind of goes along with that, showing that we're going in the right direction. Looking back at the 2023 and the 2024 ACT, our average science score went up almost a full point. So we were very happy about that. Celebrated a little bit. Okay. Let's go to the next slide there. This is a quick example I pulled from the physical science course that we were putting together to kind of show how we're working our NGSS standards into the course. The second section, the first section with lots of words in it, is kind of the main focus of this, where we are breaking down the unit by looking at the standard, which is the blue hyperlinked thing back at the bottom where it says Newton's laws. That's actually just a picture. There's no actual hyperlink on this one, but in the document that we have all this stuff living, we link the document, and then going backwards from that, what are all the things that go into fully understanding that standard? Let's head to the next slide if that's all right. And I'm going to let you take over for this one.
Alright, so I am new here to this district, but I'm not new to biology, so I've taught biology a while. And I was really happy when I came into this job and found that we had a science curriculum and that it's Kendall Hunt. So it's been really cool to look through that curriculum and kind of dive deep into how they teach it, which is really refreshing to me. So it's really focused on important questions, things that kids will care about, and we try to answer it and show some of the different content knowledge along the way. So that's been going pretty well so far. So we're doing it for Bio A and B, and there's currently 2 other teachers teaching Bio right now because we're doing 9th and 10th grade on Bio. So it's been really cool to work with other science teachers too on developing the curriculum and getting it into a place that we are comfortable with and we kind of fully understand and can teach well. So it's been great with biology so far.
That kind of also goes into our idea of trying to clarify our course sequence up. There was we've had some flux with our course curriculum sequences, just trying to figure out what's the best method, best way to do this between the middle school and the high school so that we can have our middle schoolers go through, have a great science time, and then come to the high school and still just continue that journey without a lot of interruption. This is what we are settled on right now. 9th graders will take biology as a required course. And then as 10th graders, they get a choice to take either physical science, which covers a little bit of chemistry and a little bit of physics, or go straight into chemistry. Then 11th and 12th grade, they need an additional 1 credit or 2 terms of science. They can take physics if they want to follow that path, and we have lots of other options for them. But they need at least 1 more credit. Okay. Fun part about our NGSS standards is this exciting challenge of unpacking them to find the science content and the appropriate related skill. NGSS does a good job about clarifying that, and then we put them back together in our classes to teach the content with the context of the skill that goes with it. If you go to the next slide, I have an example of how that goes together. This is an example of one of our standards. Build, design, refine a device that works within given constraints to convert one form of energy into another form of energy. And if we go one more slide, click it again and again, there we go. We break it down a little bit. There's a skill in it and there's some content in it. And if you go, I think 1 or 2 more clicks, keep going, 1 more. Oh, and go back. There we go. We take these, we put them together so our class teaches this energy conservation in the context of designing and building something. So not only are we just saying, here's this energy conservation stuff, but how do we use that? How do you build this thing? And then let's come back to it later, refine it, and try it again. And if you just go and put the whole next slide on there, I think I put some transitions on there, but might look something like this. We are shown a device, they make observations, we clarify things, we go through like the more direct instruction, and then as like the unit assessment, they apply their knowledge by creating their own device. And then if we want to push them a little bit further, we refine it, we try it again, we collect some more data. Builds some excitement, gets them doing hands-on science, and applies our content to the skill, just like the NGSS shows. Where we're headed next. These are the 3 main things I was thinking of. We want to continue this review of course guarantees. We are making it through our required classes, but there's still lots of work to do there. And integrate additional opportunities like to use these science skills, get some hands-on field experiences. We were looking at the school forest a little bit, went out and toured some things. We'd like to use it more. We just need to get together with a few other people and make a plan about how that works. Performance task assessments like the one in that previous slide where students are creating something as an assessment, and then using some classroom phenomenon like Vernier graphing sensors where they get to actually collect their own data and analyze that data. We've also been collaborating more with the middle school, and we'd like to continue to do that so that we can have that seamless transition between middle school and high school science. And then one more, I think this is the last slide, just other ways that our students are involved. We have our science club as a record high number of students. I think we have about 100 active members. And this is our 2nd year with a Science Olympiad team. Last year we went to states, earned 2 third-place medals and 1 second-place medal. We're hoping to do better this year. Got a lot of students looking forward to it. I believe that is it.
Would you mind naming off just some of the science elective courses that kids take? Because I feel like
Yes,
that's really become
let me
really
do my best
diverse.
here off the top of my head. We've got physics, wildlife, oceanology, geology, astronomy. Help me out.
Is there a forensic science yet?
Forensics,
Yeah.
environmental, anat and phys,
AP Bio.
AP Bio, AP Chemistry, AP Environmental. I know there's a couple that I'm
Health
forgetting.
science.
Yep.
I just wanted to hear how diverse all of those electives are, because kids have to get
Yes.
that one other credit, but there are so many different opportunities for them to get that credit, and you can see a lot of different pathways of interest that they have to select for, and it's still one of their graduation requirements, so.
How much room do they have in their schedule to take these? Do they really just have that one credit, or can they take a bunch of these?
One credit's
If they do.
required, but juniors and seniors don't have a lot of required classes, so there's a lot of flexibility. I often see a lot of our students that really like science taking like 2 or 3 courses a year. So they often make it to, I want to say 5 or 6 science credits.
Thank you.
Freshman year, there's very few elective options. There's so many required classes, but absolutely by the time you're a junior, there are some kids who spend all of that time in the CTE areas and other kids that choose either the social studies, all their electives, or science electives, but kids get lots and lots of options and to fill those other elective spots in their schedule.
Do you see more students once they reach the junior year to start going down the track that they would like to take for college, profession?
For sure.
It's like you see kids who are like interested in one particular area, taking the elective to see and like try it out and see if they want to learn more about it at college. So, yeah, for sure.
Any other questions for our science teachers?
Yeah, I have one question. Could you please go back a second slide?
So,
More back.
this is the first one.
Okay, second, third, fourth. This one. Physical science is the only subject that I never heard of. Only I heard in United States. This description, it means you have created syllabus or curriculum.
Yes.
And usually physical science should not have any curriculum. Or Nicole knows it if there is a syllabus, or I don't know how to pronounce curriculum.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Curriculum is what it
Yeah,
is.
curriculum. Physical science do not have a curriculum in my opinion, because physical science based on physics, chemistry, math, biology and geometry. All 4 or 5 disciplines become one to help them understand importance of each discipline or each major. This is my opinion, this is how I see things when it comes to a physical science. So this description is excellent job. There is some kind of a curriculum or syllabus, unit 1, test, modeling, quiz, lab work. That is very impressive. I like it.
Thank you.
This is my opinion regarding the syllabus.
Yes. One of the great things about science, in my opinion, as well, is that it's kind of all the other subjects transcript. It's all smushed together. And our physical science class, well, that's the name of it. It is like a branch of science. This is our sophomore class that's like some of chemistry, which is a physical science, and some of physics, which is a physical science.
Yes.
Just to clarify.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Thank you so much for taking the time to come tonight. Appreciate it.
All right,
Mr. Cassidy.
moving on to 2.3. Student Senate report. Student.
Sorry, I don't have a slideshow prepared. I heard that clubs are supposed to do that kind of a little too late, so I just have to think you're gonna be staring at me looking at my phone for a little bit, sorry. Alright. Good evening, board members. My name is Anton Cassidy. I'm a senior at Black River Falls High School, as well as the president of our Student Senate. Since the start of this school year, Student Senate has been busy working to build school spirit for our community and create meaningful experiences for our students. Our first measure was obviously to elect our new officers. I myself am president. Owen Zenz is my vice president. Andrea Cogswell is our treasurer, Bailey Goldsmith is our secretary, and Lauren Bierke is our communications officer. And we are trying hard to get our club up and off the ground. One of our first initiatives was planning school-wide dress-up days. We did this for Halloween first, so we did things like fall colors, favorite scary movie, and of course, wearing costumes to school. Moving on, we rolled into Christmas Spirit Days, which are happening right now. Today is Pajama Day, and we're going until break with more days. We work with Pep Club for those to prepare prizes for like best costumes, advising for the most participation, stuff like that. In addition to building school spirit, Student Senate focuses on giving back. We organized many more this year to support families facing a medical crisis. The competition was pretty good. Miss Geary's 9th grade class came out on top. Miss Milthorpe's 10th grade class finishing second, and Mr. Young Thunder in dead last, getting an impressive 4,322 points in the negative. In total, we exceeded our goal by raising $384.45. As a fun incentive, Mr. Erickson agreed to shave his mustache. That was live on our Cofferin Live. That was a pretty big fun. I enjoyed watching it. I think students and staff did too. Currently, we're promoting bell ringing to raise money this winter for the Salvation Army. Students can sign up online, and in Black River Falls, we're doing it at both Hanson's IGA and Walmart. We're encouraging our members to spread the word to their classmates to get signed up for this to help raise some money this winter and give back for the holidays. These are just a few of our accomplishments this year. Student Senate is excited to continue finding new ways to support our school and community, and we look forward to accomplishing even more as the year goes on. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Anybody have questions? Just so you know, the Student Senate person has never given a slideshow, so do not feel bad that there was no slides,
No
okay?
problem, then.
You did fantastic. Thank you so much for coming.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, moving on to 6.1, gifts and grants.
Yeah, so as we have talked about our angel funds that we're pretty confident we're not going to make it through the year, and then we got a very, very generous donation to the angel fund. So that's fantastic, and kudos to Mr. Nortman for having those connections, right? All prompted from our marketing group doing something on social media, which led to a really nice, generous donation, which is fantastic. Yeah, I think that is the only one, and it does not need your approval.
Are there two?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they're both listed in the
Just making sure.
same individual.
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. Just moving on to 6.2, Board Legislative Advocacy Committee.
So I brought that back on the agenda because it came about quickly last month, and there wasn't a lot of conversation about what that was going to look like. Are you wanting it to be a committee of the whole? Is there going to be a certain number of people? Is that a meeting you want me to schedule? Are you going to elect a chairman? There's not current board policy that dictates what that meeting should look like. And so if you're interested in starting there, we could start there. I guess I was looking for some direction from the group as to where do you want to go from here?
I did like the article that you sent us.
Yeah.
That was really, I thought, very good. It was encouraging a different strategy for community involvement. I thought that was really nice because I feel like sometimes we get a little segregated and we forget about the voices that put us here.
Agreed. And I wish that I had had that when the packet was done. I just got that article today,
Yeah.
and so maybe all of you haven't seen your email, but it was really well done. What I appreciated about that the most was that they had some strategies that were successful in getting people to engage, not only when you're asking for things or when they're upset about something, right?
Right.
When people are upset, there's all kinds of engagement, but by that point, they're already upset about something. So
Right.
I'm glad that you found some good things in there.
Yeah, I thought that was very, very, very interesting and very good. So, coming from the state of Massachusetts, was it?
I guess I don't even remember, but
I think it was. I'm not gonna quote it for sure, but
I guess that was Michaela that kind of brought up most of that, and she's not here tonight.
It was, my take is that, I mean, we're going to discuss at 6.5 what WASB's putting forward, and we're going to be are we sending a representative to that?
there's 2 board members that are registered for that conference, and so
We're gonna have representation there, and they are making legislative advocacy on behalf of the board through the Wisconsin Association of School Boards. I'm not sure I see the point in us spending a whole bunch more time on a separate local legislative advocacy, I can't say anything either, committee. Not that it couldn't be done, but it seems, to me, not how I would spend my time.
if I could just give one very recent local example, and I am not swaying you because we've never had a legislative advocacy committee before, so I'm not, but here's a local example. So when the biennium budget was passed, we were told that our special education reimbursement for this year was going to be 42%. And so we balanced our budget, assuming we were going to get 42% of our special education funds reimbursed through the state. It was I can't remember the one, it's not some sufficient, it's
It is some sufficient, not some certain.
okay, it's some sufficient, not some certain. That means there is a pool of dollars for special education reimbursement, and all the districts submit their spending, and from that pool, everyone gets a piece of it until that pool is empty. Right now, they're estimating that's going to be a 35% reimbursement rate. So we balanced our budget at 42, and halfway through our fiscal year, they're now telling us we're going to be short 7% reimbursement, which is hundreds of thousands of dollars for us. So I wrote a letter to our elected officials and gave them a local story that said, we transferred this amount of money from Fund 10 to Fund 27 for special education. You promised us 42%, that's how we balanced our budget. Halfway through the year, now you're telling us it's going to be that much less. Black River Falls is deeply invested in this. We would love to invite you over to come look at our district and visit. And so I look at that as local advocacy, because it is giving our elected officials concrete examples of the organizations that they're representing, as opposed to WASB, where all advocacy is already under their great big umbrella. So I just would share that example that right now and I don't know what will end up happening, but they were lobbying, they asked us to help share our story so that perhaps they would sign on to a bill that would make it some sufficient, meaning it would take all the special education costs in the state this year and would really reimburse at 42% like we budgeted. I don't know the timing. I heard that in January they have one more session, so we'll know more then, but we could have some serious challenges this spring if we find out that all of those rules changed midstream. So I would just share, I didn't forward that out to all of you, but there's nothing that I couldn't have forwarded to you and said, hey, this is an educational issue that's happening right now. If you're so moved to advocate, here's what you can do. We could do that if you want or not.
So the issue is that as individual school board members, we cannot, under the aegis of our school board membership, write to a representative and say, hey, fix this. But if we were to have such a committee, then we could at least make noise together as a group.
And I do think it's important that we would have an ad hoc group, because not only from this board, but from community, because I feel like you need that input from the community as well, because there's a lot of things that not only impact the school, it impacts the community. So I do feel the importance of having that ad hoc committee.
There's, as Mr. Cooper pointed out last month, there's a lot of governmental entities, and the more we can work together as opposed to at odds.
Mhm.
I think if it's not something everybody is interested in participating in, which I think that's fairly obvious, I think that it would make sense to have people interested in doing it, do it, and not forcing people to do it who may not have that interest. So, like, I don't know what that translates to in a school board legal sense, but.
Yeah. You could have 3 members on that ad hoc committee, particularly if they're going to make recommendations back to the full board for approval. Then it would be just like the policy committee making recommendations back. So those meetings would have to be publicly posted because it is an arm of the board. But I like the idea of, so the board has current school board policy, and I'm sorry, I don't know the number, but I know it's in the 0 series that says when there is an ad hoc committee, it talks about representation and it talks about 3 or fewer board members. It asks for staff members, it asks for community members, just to try to broaden the lens, I guess, during the discussion. And so you're right, Alex, that you couldn't sign something from the school board, but you could put Alex Woods if you were interested, right? Just not identify yourself as
Correct.
a board.
Correct, and you as the superintendent are still capable
Correct.
of, which seems to me somewhat more nimble
Yeah.
than trying to get this board all together behind a proposed legislative action.
To agree, and to Jeanette's point, I also think that along with the conversation around advocacy, you just naturally learn more, right? People understand it more the more you talk about it through different lenses. So I think there's a lot of good that can happen from openly discussing. So,
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed like Michaela was interested in it the most of everybody. So like Jeanette's interested. I don't know if anybody else is, but we would need 3 people and we would have to move to start a committee. So, you know.
it would be a maximum of 3, not a minimum
Okay.
of 3.
Sure.
Just for clarification. Do you want to bring it back when Michaela's here? Do you want to?
We could, I guess, bring it table till next month maybe, and just see who wants to think about it. And I guess when she's here too, maybe it'd make more sense.
Nick, can I have you just talk a little louder? I'm over 60 and I'm
I'll yell at you.
the hearing's going.
Okay, well, we'll move on then to,
Does there need to be a motion to table it? Robert's rules, I feel like there should be.
Yeah, there should be a
all
table.
right, I move to table 6.2 board.
Doctor, okay, she's
I'll
second.
second that.
Okay, all in favor, signify it.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No, all right, we'll table until January meeting. Moving on to 6.2, school forest utilization.
So this question was asked after listening to Mr. Cooper's presentation about the possible sale of the school forest. The board asked for some input as to what the current practices are at the school forest. What have people used the school forest for in the past? And what would you like to see how would you like to utilize the school forest? And then the important question of what's getting in the way of that happening. And so the principals did a great job soliciting feedback from their teams, and I dumped it all into AI, and it helped me make some nice summaries for you guys. And I went through and double checked. So it was not at all surprising to me. But I was a little surprised that so many of the staff remembered when we had a person, to be honest. Like, it came back so clearly that a person who was really passionate about using the school forest and did that extra step of advocating and coordinating and just that go-to resource person, that was hands down the biggest reason as to why usage had kind of fallen off. And it is very true, particularly, well, it's at every level, but we hear it at the elementary level. Their minutes during the day are so incredibly tightly scheduled that they feel like, okay, we're gonna take a whole day out there, when that makes me sad to hear that they feel like their day is that tight. But it doesn't mean their day is that tight just sitting in front of one thing, right? There's lots of stuff happening, but there was not a single response that said, I don't need the school forest, I'd rather not use it, we're good. There was none of that. It was more, could you help us organize it in a way that it is more feasible for us to utilize?
So will we require a board motion to create a school forest committee, or is that something a school can do within the district?
We can definitely create a committee, and if you were interested in funding an individual to be the driver of that, to be honest, Mr. Nortman, before he was the middle school principal, he was the school forest coordinator, and there was a stipend that went along with that. So from his 4th grade teaching spot, he also had lots of contacts with the DNR and with all the Jackson County Wildlife, all of those different organizations that you heard mentioned in here. And when a teacher was interested in going out, he would help with, here's a bunch of activities for this time of year, whatever. So a committee can certainly get us started, and in the end, they're gonna need somebody to be that contact and get that ball rolling a little bit. That's more of a fiscal conversation that we have to talk about budget for.
Is there any one teacher that had a passion for it that stood out?
Yeah, I didn't ask that question, and so I do know that we did post the school forest coordinator position probably 2 years ago, and we had 0 applicants. And at that time, our high school science department was almost all new people, and so you heard Nate, who is probably him and Mr. Anderson have been here the longest. They are very interested in it. It's just a matter of they've done a whole curriculum overhaul, which takes their time. And I couldn't think of anyone off the top of my head, but we didn't ask that question. We posted 2 years ago and did not have any applicants. So.
Since we don't have any applicant for that forest coordinator, we can always go to the DNR.
We do, but I'm simply saying that a teacher who is in the middle of all of their other responsibilities for every grade level to call the DNR versus having one contact from the district that calls the DNR. For a while there was bins with grade level specific activities that were all coordinated by that school forest committee and coordinator, just really trying to remove barriers to them getting out there is really what it was.
I remember Mr. Doughton used to teach 7th grade science, and I used to take lots of children to Riverside, collect the leaf, just write a botanical name, zoological name, local name, and scientific name in nice journal. But that is not a jungle. That is like a walk through the river. Just pick up the leaf and just identify that this tree is not native, it comes from the Belgium or Norway or Holland. Not most of the trees are foreign trees here. So it was very informative thing. We do these things.
I'm not arguing. What you read in your packet was what they currently do, what they used to do, and what they would like to do. So I think if you read what we are currently doing, there really wasn't that much. There's the connection between the high school science group and 3rd grade, but there wasn't a lot that's currently happening.
And also Rosalie Brown Thunder used to take walk with me too. I want to give her a credit, so what she has gone to other side.
So in the past, there used to be like a leaf collection.
7th grade.
Yeah. And insect collection years ago. I don't know when they actually stopped it, if it was after Joan Staffon left.
Yeah.
But my question is, and I don't want to start it, but the possibility of what if we don't use the school forest like the wish list is. What is the benefit to hold on to it?
Honestly, you were part of the board when we acquired it from all of those different groups, and we basically just sent a letter to them stating that we were, one group started the conversation. So for those that weren't on the board, the school forest has 40 acres and it was donated for the district's use, but there were 4 municipalities that owned it. It was an undivided fourth, so it wasn't like these 10 acres are ours, these 10 acres are the city, it was an undivided 40 acres, and we have managed it, and Albion, the city, and Brockway, and the district were the 4 owners of that 40 acres. Over the course of the last 18 months now, the other 3 governmental entities have all done a quit claim deed, and the district now owns all 40 acres of it. I can't say that there would be a fundamental change to education without it being there, because as noted, they're not currently using it that way. When we were asked about it, it feels a little disrespectful to just have it gifted to you and then say we're going to turn around and sell it. That doesn't feel great to me. And particularly when there were so many teachers who were excited at the possibility of using it. I assure you, it took a while after the 2021 school year for us to fire up a lot of our field trips again. And I know that feels like a long time ago. There's been an awful lot happening since then. So we asked, they said they would love to start using it again. So I don't think things would change that dramatically from now, but it would seem short-sighted to sell something that we just acquired and that we don't owe any money on.
So
if we were to go back to those townships and explained the situation, so like we're looking at doing a referendum, and if this is something that we would be able to sell to acquire an amount of money, I'm not, what would they say? Would they, all we can do is ask, correct?
So the first step is our ownership was done by, I haven't looked at it in a while, but it's been a really, really long time that it was first, is it a deed or what is it that the county board designated that as school forest land, and it's a little bit prescriptive over what we can and cannot do, and so we first need somebody to dig through that and find out if we can sell it, right, if that is a possibility. So all of those things that you suggested are possible.
I think selling the school forest is madness. I think that we have a clear desire to use it. I think that if we look at the research, you'll see that there's mental health benefits to outdoor exposure. We have a school forest, and frankly, one of the strengths of being a rural district and not an inner city district, we don't have as many museums, but we got a forest. Like, we should use what we have rather than truck kids up to Eau Claire or something to go to a museum. Take them to the forest. Now, we have a recommendation here. They want to take every grade to the forest at least once a year. I say we make that school policy. Mandate at some point in the future that every grade has to at least use the forest once per year. That's going to require funds. That's going to require a team to tell, because the teacher's like, we want to use it, but we don't know how. So we're going to have to find someone who they can go to who can put on the forest hat and say, yes, here's how you do it. I've got a binder, whatever it might be. I'm still new at school boarding, so I don't know how the best way to go through that is. But I would like to know what it would cost. And I would like to know, is it feasible? And come next month, if we could have that, I'd like to make a motion to next month propose that we start using the school forest, start mandating use of the school forest for next year, to have people draw up a curriculum to make this happen. I think the costs are negligible compared to benefits, compared to paying a museum to use them, trucking kids to a museum, getting science education somewhere else. We can use the heck out of this forest. We can have coordination probably with the Ho-Chunk Nation on this. The whole forest program was designed to encourage interest in logging. I'm sure the DNR has timber sale issues, but furthermore, there might be plants of traditional cultural value to the Ho-Chunk Nation. They might have interest in taking people out for that. There's all sorts of ways the school district can work with our partners here to further education and to make use of the forest. And we just need to try it. We have
I
the
agree with you on all of those things, Alex. But the state of Wisconsin, the DNR does have, and the county does have that capability, as well as, you know, to take us. You don't have to go to Eau Claire to a museum or La Crosse. There is a lot of state and county land available that, yes, loggers do have timber sales, and yes, they can do a lot of that already. I think it's great to partner with our community. The Ho-Chunk has their own land, and they plant. They do a lot of timber stuff on their own property that is there. And I know this for a fact because of working there. I know what is offered and what they shared with employees. So, you know, we want to, I'm not saying that I'm against keeping the school forest, but I'm looking at how can we better our relationship with the community, and knowing that we have a DNR office here, we have a county office here, and there is a lot of state and county land available to do things on.
I have one question. What is different between school forest? I visited that several times. Different between school forest and state forest, which is right there I can see. School forest and state forest. Once you go in the state forest, they have such a beautiful building and it is very, very fancy. So why not we use state forest, which is road, not dirt road. So the cars could go, the tourists are coming from all across the Wisconsin, they go to state forest. So we can use state forest too. Why you want to go Eau Claire?
I don't want to go to Eau Claire. I also look at and think about our walking trail. There's so much right here in Black River Falls with the walking trail, the different plants, the different trees that grow along it, the wildlife that you see down along the trail. So those are just, it's just a thoughts that I have had going through my head since I watched the board, or participated last month in the board meeting. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I like it. So no need of Eau Claire or La Crosse. We can do our own.
I see that as very regressive. I see the chance to build this school into something good with a program that we can be proud of, that we can show other schools what we can do. And the school forest, which has just been acquired, is the perfect opportunity to do this, frankly, on the cheap.
Yeah.
And so I know you're concerned about expenses. Could we get together a budget estimate for what it would cost to have a stipend for the coordinators?
Otherwise, it's transportation costs out there is really the bulk of it.
And then see how much we're spending. The other thing is compare it to what it would cost to have these sorts of opportunities not through our forest. For example, if we were driving these buses to the state forests or other museums or whatever, what the equivalent field trips would cost. Can we actually save funds?
Well, I think that it's presumptuous of us to assume that a trip to the school forest would take away the Paul Bunyan Museum, right? Like, I don't know that we could say we're not going to do some of those things, but we certainly can figure out the transportation costs to the school forest once a year for every grade level. We most definitely can do that. And then to compare that to a state forest, it would be the same thing, because I'm going to say county land, not state forest, but county land abuts the school forest. So it'll be the same cost for us to get to county land. So that the cost for the field trips, we 100% can get for you. I also wrote down I should probably check with our school attorney what steps would need to happen to determine whether we could sell the land or not,
Right.
going back to that original deed, so that we at least know. I had sent it to her after last month, and she said that it would take work on the part of the county board, and she was gonna check on, it's a very unique agreement that the 4 parties were gifted the land initially, so she needed to chase down what it would mean, so.
Right, and it's just a thought that when you think of where we're looking at going with a referendum, and the community says, wow, they watched the board meeting, there's an opportunity to bring money, to make money, and yet we're not. And so that's why I asked, what is the word, to owning the land?
What is the value to owning the land? Is that what you're wondering? Or-
Yeah,
Okay.
Do we benefit from,
We-
and then that's what I'm,
So to be honest, there are some things that I could quickly cite, like we have, and Mr. Norman, I might ask him for some help because
Yeah.
he's worked with the school forest so much more, but the pond that's there. And so I'm gonna say these things, and I fully understand. There are other ponds in Jackson County. There's a river in Jackson County. There's other trees. I 100% say that, and I acknowledge that. But if you're asking the school forest, there was a group of kids who dug in really hard into the creation and the I don't know what you call it, but they worked on the pond to make sure they were introducing the species that needed to be there. And then there was a group of science kids there was buckthorn removal that was a fantastic community service / project that they worked on. The shelter that's out there, we would bring classes to sit inside there, and there was picnic tables that they could do some learning in there. That was insulated through some grant funds at one point. There are trails around that are very known entities to us because the teachers have been there enough that they are comfortable walking the kids around. 4th grade's done a bunch of geocaching out there, and so the kids all get their compasses and they go. All of those things could happen elsewhere. It becomes familiar and there's a sense of ownership to it. That shelter that's there helps the kids can go put the snowshoes on in there before they head out on the snowshoe trails, and so it's a convenience is really what it is. Mr. Nortman, do you have thoughts that you would like to share to this conversation?
I'm good, I wanna know a little more.
You know, I went to the school forest when I was in 1st grade, 82. It's just, it's ours, it still has cat faces on the old trees when the 77 fire went through, and like Shelley said, it's got everything that's there. It's well established, there's trails, there's a course, I can't remember what it's called, but it's ours.
The disc golf course, is that what you mean?
What is it?
Disc golf course?
No, it's a
Ropes course.
Ropes course.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just, there's a lot of stuff that we've done and set up out there, and a lot of things that are already put into place as far as like when the DNR comes out, this is where they do their furrow plow. To show the kids how they do a fire break around a wildfire. These are the trees that they've already measured for the last 15 years to show the growth rings when they core a tree. It's just, it's out there, it's what we've done, it's prepared, it's so much more convenient just to do it there. I'd also say that, there's a lot of things on the foundation trail we don't want our kids to see and find.
Yeah,
We all
absolutely.
know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We also, as a school, went down that foundation trail to trash clean up and had to quit because of what we were finding. But it's convenient because we can go out there, we can say, this is our space, on this day, there's no hunting. Nobody's gonna come here this day, this is our place. And it's ours. So, we put a lot of work into that. The education program that we have out there, the school force education program that Gretchen and I wrote, it's all there ready to use. It's gonna take some updating, but it's there ready to be used.
I think Jeanette's absolutely right, and I'm very thankful to the gentleman who came last meeting as well, because if it's not being used, we should sell it, and I think that was important, and I think we shouldn't sell it at all. I think this has clearly brought before a problem, and one the school board can fix, which is to start utilizing the school forest effectively again, creating memories for kids in the future, like the ones you have since 1st grade. That's what we can, that'll build community, that builds community trust in the school district. That's the kind of stuff the school needs to be doing, not selling our resources and shutting down.
So it is good to save and have some money utilized in the school and still collecting some portion of a tax every year for lifetime. I visited 7 or 8 months ago school forest, boys and girls bathroom. No human or animal can go inside. It has never been cleaned. And then we have another classroom there. It piled up with a dust that I need like 6 laborers to clean that classroom. I think so it is unutilized. I don't know for what, maybe COVID kicked in so a student could not go there. Some reasons are there. But it is always good idea to visit yourself. You can borrow the key from Mr. Notman. In 1982, he was in the 1st grade and I was in the 8th grade. So little difference here.
You don't
Just like an unused cabin that sits on 40 acres that somebody hasn't come and visited for a year. You're gonna have dust, you're gonna have dirt. It takes Cornish to go out there and clean it up. He takes both of his kids out there, and in a few hours it's looking spick and span again.
So
And the restroom is also septic. It could be replaced with another things. Little bit expense is there to maintain a few things in there. But we should use the state forest, which is very fancy. Beautiful safety protocols all over in the state forest. A school forest, drive a few miles there, that is a state forest. I visited the state forest so many times just to experience the nature. And then we have a Vazi Lake, which is also another beautiful experience. We lot of things here in Black River. Ho-Chunks have their own forest.
Any other discussion on the utilization?
Can we get that on the agenda for next month?
I have down cost for school forest, field trip for every grade, transportation, and continue conversation with legal counsel. Can we legally sell the school forest land?
Thanks, Joe.
I guess my thoughts on the school forest is, I mean, we had 3 people just like sign over their part to us like a year ago, less than a year ago. And, you know, in my mind, it feels a little yucky or unethical. Just like, all right, we're gonna sell it, you know? Because, you know, and I remember reading the letter of the people that initially donated the 40 acres they wanted it to use for education and open to the public and stuff. And I was like, well, you have to respect that, you know? You know, other side of the coin, you know, we drive right past the county and state forest to get there. Could we use that instead? I think we could if we really wanted to. Is it convenient to have our own place and stuff? Absolutely. Should it get utilized more? I think so. I think kids need to get out into nature and not be inside all the time. You know, it's not people really connect with that. And, you know, I think kids that probably have ADHD and autism and stuff, they probably really might relax them a lot, you know? So I do think they should, if we're gonna have it, we better use it. You know, I think it's great for the kids. And yeah, that's about it.
The last piece I would share is when we had our charter school, when we had the Braggs Green School, they did an awful lot of the development and they helped to generate the lessons, and then it was so easy for every elementary class to go out there, and there was a group of high school students that was their entire curriculum was the Green School Energy, and so it was heavily utilized when Braggs was still around.
You know, like the FFA, they take kids out to the
Yeah.
farm,
They go to
like
the farm.
every 4th graders. Like, why can't the science club or the
They do, so high school takes 3rd grade every year, that's
Right.
the one that's still maintained, yep.
you know,
It all can happen,
we have quite a few science clubs, and I feel that the high schoolers teaching the little kids,
Yeah.
it kind of gives them a little bit of, I don't know what you call it, you know, it rewards them a little bit, and
Yep.
hopefully they take a little pride in that, you know, not just sit in
Both sides.
class all day.
Yeah, the
Agreed.
mentoring system
Self-worth,
is
I guess,
good.
whatever you wanna call it.
As I said, there was not one person that we asked that said, it's a bad idea, we should never utilize it. Nobody said that.
So, I mean, I feel like high school kids, maybe dealing with elementary kids is a win-win. Other than having a teacher take on another responsibility, you know.
You know, the high school students aren't gonna do it alone, they're gonna need a high school teacher
Right.
to help them to,
Right.
and it's all good, that happens on many different regards. We got the Big Paws, Little Paws, we've got FFA who comes, we've got the Science Club who does things, we've got Art Club, there's a lot of examples where that does happen, so I just wanted to be clear that a group of students doesn't typically develop programming without the help of well-intentioned teachers.
And
Yeah.
I mentioned the arts program again, because it doesn't just need to be a science thing. School force doesn't just mean science. I mean,
I remember third grade one of the grade levels used to go and they would do an interview with a tree and they would sit down and they'd like write this whole story about the tree that they were interviewing. So yeah, there's been some great things done out there for sure. Duly noted.
Right, I'm not sure where we're at, I guess school force, we discussed that, we discussed the sale of it, we haven't really made a decision, I don't think we're at the point where we're even able to, so I guess anybody opposed to moving on to 6.5?
We did not discuss this land sale.
Oh, sure.
No.
That's right. Alright, let's talk about this here. I talked a little bit to a realtor and just kind of wondered what it would be worth, and they're thinking like 20 to 25,000 per lot. There's 4 lots, so you're talking like $80,000 to $100,000 total for the 4 lots here, which, I mean, in the big scheme of things for the school district is kind of a drop in the bucket. But
One time,
once.
no, so it's not like it's
would we ever use it?
gonna recur,
I don't know.
so.
Is it possible to rent it and get continuous income?
Would you, I'm
For
gonna
what?
start by saying anything's possible.
I have
but-
no idea. I've literally
But
completely
would we let
spitballed.
them build on it?
Lease, we can lease them.
Well,
Right, but
if,
for the flat open grass? Right now, it's already a public space. 'cause
Well,
it's-
I'm saying if you're gonna sell it for 4 housing lots for a one-time payout of $80,000, which is nothing, and the supposed need is they need more affordable housing in this town, is there a mathematical argument where the school can actually make more money by
Becoming a
rent?
landlord?
Well, I mean, the
What could
used
go
to build
wrong?
houses.
We're really straying from our mission there. Although, I mean, districts do it. They've done teacher housing.
That's the only reason I asked,
Yeah.
is just because I don't wanna sell it. I don't think there's a reason to sell it now, but if we were gonna talk about selling it, before I would sell it, I would also explore any other revenue generating options that it could have.
Could have the tech ed department build houses on it and rent them to teachers.
There you go.
Teacher housing.
It makes more sense to save it for like a rainy day, like Casey was saying, like a middle school boiler. You know, like it just doesn't make sense to get rid of an asset just to get rid of an asset. It makes more sense to save assets for what they're for, which is to help when you need them. And so, I mean, I'm certainly not opposed to the idea we're not using it for anything, but it just doesn't make sense to do it right now when there's not like an acute need for it, when there might be a pending, looming need for one in the near future.
I know there, if you look at it, there is, if you sell those 4 lots, the thing is, there's taxes on those 4 lots that if you sold them, the district benefits each year from when they sell whoever purchases, they're paying taxes, and the district benefits from a portion of that tax, correct?
yes and no though. So remember, we have a revenue limit. It's not gonna give us any new money. It's gonna spread that money out amongst everybody else who pays taxes.
By
So I just
four.
wanna be clear, like, we're not gonna get more money because there's a newer house here. The revenue limit, the state tells us exactly how much we can get. And so that dollar's not gonna change because there's new houses. It just means that the burden of who's paying those taxes, this limit will be filled by more property owners as opposed to fewer. So yes and no, right? I mean, we benefit
Yeah.
because new families, new whatever, like, but financially it's not giving us new spendable dollars.
If we decide to take no action on this, will this die and we don't have to hear about it every month?
I mean,
It
That's-
would be cleaner to make a motion to not sell the land if
I
someone
make
wants
a motion to not sell the school forest or these 4 houses for the next
They're not
Year.
houses, they're lots.
lots. Correct, thank you. I make a motion that the school district will not be selling any property for the next 365 days.
So you're
And
saying
so,
it's a motion for a year.
and I just wanna be clear, because when you say property,
Real estate.
thank you. I was gonna say we have a lot
We have
of
a lot of
things we sell
stuff.
at auction that I just.
Correct, thank you.
So any discussion? Discussion or no discussion?
I feel like we've discussed all of this for 2 months.
yeah, I guess
After motion, there should be a
Timing.
discussion, right?
We were supposed to come back and have another discussion
Okay.
this month. So to say that it's been,
Did we have a second?
it's sort of rude,
We
the
don't have a
way that you
second.
come across, and I don't appreciate it. Because last month, we left the meeting stating that we would review it tonight,
which we're doing.
Which we're
which
doing.
we're doing.
And so I am making a motion, which doesn't have to be seconded, and this thing dies on the table. But if people are tired of talking about this, and we all know how we're gonna vote on it anyway, I have made a motion, which someone could second. I think the motion is not seconded.
I would second it if there was a time frame.
Yeah, just a little.
Okay.
I don't like just the
Well,
fact to say that.
What does it mean if there's no time frame involved?
Like right now, we're just not gonna make a decision on it until it comes back up again as being worth discussion. So like, kind of what Caitlin has alluded to and what I talked about it the last time, like, I mean, I think this is a card that we can hold in our back pocket, to know that there is some interest from the community at this time for these lots. And if something comes up where the district is cash strapped and we needed to come up with a way to raise some funds to pay for whatever it might be without having to go back to the taxpayers in order to get it, the opportunity would be to sell the lots in order. You know,
Yeah.
so it doesn't, like, if we put time with it and
Something happens in the
120
next 20 days, 200 days.
I
Shoot,
mean,
Yeah.
just like an
guess what,
example
you
would
know,
be,
so,
we
Yeah.
keep talking about buses all the time, you
Yeah.
know, especially when Jill is here. She's like, buses, you know, we could sell this and it's something that, to say the kids don't really use ever, okay? And if we bought a new bus, it'd be something that we get used every day, just to put it into a different perspective. You know?
Yes, electric bus, I like that, Tesla.
We
I did
already
not say
missed
that.
out on the electric bus grant. That
So, I mean, that's just like something that, like, you know, you could liquidate something and get an asset you use, you know? And
This is what Dr. Caitlin said.
I agree with Kate, like I'd be willing to second without the time on it.
So if I could just offer, and these are your motions to make, I'm just offering, Alex's motion could die for lack of a second.
correct.
Someone else could make a motion that says, at this time, the board is not interested in selling property. I
See,
have
without
another
a
thought.
time frame,
Yeah.
there's a problem.
But I think it has to be, until there's another intended purpose, right? I mean, because right now that it's not really advantageous to.
It wouldn't just a motion to like not sell right now just sort of implies that that is until a later time when it could be brought up again.
There was a specific request this time, there was a specific request, I don't know how many years ago, and the board acted on those specific requests. The board always has the opportunity, if you have a burning interest in selling, you can always bring that up for discussion. And each time a community member brings up the ask, the board can have a conversation and vote it yes or no, right? So
Yeah, so we could, I make a motion to not sell property, district property,
Real estate.
real estate, to sell district real estate
at this time.
at this time, period.
I will second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Any discussion?
Seeing none, we will vote on it. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed signify by saying no.
No.
Motion passes.
I will still get the information for you that was requested.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think you could just,
That would
maybe
be-
just have that information as part of the board package.
That's what I was thinking.
We don't have to necessarily talk about it.
That's
Figure out for that.
Well, we do need to talk about the forest utilization.
Yeah, that information, yes. It would be,
Because we would have to make a motion to fund a position for a forest coordinator.
Yes, I mean,
If we-
it's still on the books. I mean, we offered a $3,000 stipend for a teacher to be that leader. And again, 2 years ago, we had no interest. After this whole conversation, my guess is we might have some interest now. So that doesn't take board action for us to do it. This conversation today was enough direction for me to know that we better get moving on a school forest committee.
So just a question, really just go first. So if there was like some marketable timber on it, would it be like harvested?
We do
I don't know
not
if there
have
is not.
mineral rights. I can't remember timber rights. I look over like Jill's there and is gonna tell me, sorry, Brandon. Dan, thank you.
We did the harvest, about 10, 12 years ago, we worked with Ed Block, so our harvest is taken care of, there's a forest management plan.
Okay.
Do you know if did we financially benefit from that? Or, okay, because mineral rights, I know the county retained, I could not remember timber rights.
We did.
Thank you.
Just something I think would be cool with Stowe Forest if we logged some logs off of it and made lumber out of it, and then the woods department could make stuff out of it. I think that'd be kind of a cool full circle thing,
right.
Supplies are expensive for them too.
you know, because, you know, use what you got, you know.
Shelley, oops, sorry. Nick.
That's fine.
Were you principal at the time when they would go out to logging
Iverson logging would go out. Mhm.
and then other loggers were going?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I kept heard it was a really short little job over there.
Yeah, you weren't part.
Mhm.
All right, moving on then to 6.5, WASB proposed resolutions and delegate selection.
So just for your information, at that delegate assembly at the conference in Milwaukee, they are not, what the assembly does, which one representative from each school district who is present, they take a vote and that just informs WASB what they should lobby for and support. So just because our person supports it or this board supports it does not mean that it's going to become law. It means that that is something that our organization agrees with, that you would approve of WASB doing additional lobbying around. So sometimes people get caught up in wordsmithing, and imagine a room of 400 people wordsmithing one of these when they're just trying to take a vote. It can be more than a little tedious. So the way the board has handled it in the past, but it is 100% your choice. If, as you read through them, if there were ones that you felt really strongly about that you wanted to have a conversation, we would do that at the board meeting, and then your delegate representative would have that background knowledge to use when they were voting while they were down there. If nobody has any questions about any of them, then we don't need to talk about them. Our January board meeting is also before that meeting. So both Caitlin and Michaela are signed up to go to the Joint State Convention. And so either one of them, if they're willing, could be our delegate representative. That does need formal board action, who we're going to nominate as our delegate representative. They've already asked Marty for us to submit to them who that person is. So that part I will ask you to take action on. As far as the proposals,
Tonight or January?
I would, they would like it tonight. Yeah, because in January, our meeting is like the night before the meeting, and they'll have name tags and all that stuff all printed up for them. So
Caitlin is here.
she's like, rats.
By default.
Michaela did it last year,
Michaela did it
but
last year, and I think it'd be good to see us
I'm willing.
split
Okay.
it up. So I
Caitlin's willing,
make a
great.
motion to nominate Michaela for,
Hang on.
Michaela or
I'm sorry, Caitlin, my bad. Thanks for that. Caitlin as our delegate.
I'll second that. Alright, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all good. Motion passes. Alright, that was easy. Person stuff.
it sure is. And other than just reminding everyone that if there's any of those that you would like to pull out and talk about at the January meeting, it would be great if you would let us know ahead of time so that we can do a little background digging to make sure you know the intention and all that stuff behind it. School safety reports, that is honestly one of those things that they're there for your information. It is required by law that you approve them at least once a year. Each of the buildings, you saw their individual reports, and so if you have any questions, we can go through them. Otherwise, it just needs your formal approval.
I don't have any questions, I just have one comment, and it's primarily for the high school team. I noticed that it was not an unannounced thing, that you had talked to the teachers and things about that. I really like the fact that the other schools did not do that and made it a little bit more organic of an experience, but I also appreciate the fact that you had a very rigid discussion that the kids were in when they were in that. I think that was a great thing. I'd like to see, just consider having it be a little bit more organic next time for the high school. And the reason I state that is if you look at a lot of the situations that have happened across the nation, a lot of times is targeted at the high school levels. So just to see your team react and to see how they're going to act and how the kids are gonna act when there's less people that have already kind of prepared for it mentally, you might see a little bit different action. That's just that. It's not, you know,
Great.
but I appreciate it.
Do you always announce, or are they sometimes unannounced, Nate?
I'm guessing you're talking about like Alice drill situations, or you're talking fire drill?
The report that you filled out, the
Yes.
school.
Oh, school
Yep,
safety.
Yep,
Yes.
yep.
Yeah. So
We bought, and I guess I would have to talk to the other principals. I typically have notified, and the reason being, like, what I was told is, just with some of the fear around drills or situations like this, we don't want to catch anybody off guard or the trauma, reaction, things like that. So that's why I've always notified families and teachers that it's coming. But I would be very interested in hearing what other buildings do. So I will definitely dig into that and see.
So we do have to notify families before we run the drill, but we
Yep.
don't tell them this day, this time, sometime in the near future, we're going to be having a drill.
yeah, and I guess I'm not commenting on that. It's
Yep.
more, I just noticed high school was the only one that said that they notified the teachers of the day that it was gonna happen, so they knew when it was gonna happen at the time. Where it looked like the rest of the staffs didn't necessarily have that notification.
They often tell some special education teachers who have students who are likely to react really strongly, they often get a heads up, but not usually the whole staff. So we can certainly talk about that. Thank you for that. And those do need a motion that you review them.
I make a motion to accept the safety drills, reviews.
I'll second that.
Okay, a motion and a second, all in favor of approving the school safety reports?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Alex, you'll need your signature when we're done.
Cool. At the end of that.
So 8.2, employment recommendations.
There are some that need your approval this month.
Is Larry retiring at the end of the year? I move to approve the employment recommendations for the month.
Wait a second. Excuse me.
All in favor?
No discussion?
What do you want, oh yeah, what do you want to talk
Why
about?
this guy is resigning, Larry Severson? He is one of the greatest teacher. I worked with him in Asio School District. He is a #1 fantastic teacher. Why he's resigning? He's not even 79.
Do you think we should,
He is not 79. He is a new grandpa though. And
I was
he
gonna say.
is going to do some childcare.
I have a great
Changes your
experience
world.
with him.
So the connection is right there on the board between the losing Little Tiger's childcare.
He is not going to go work at Little Tigers. It will be Smokey Severson's or Papa Smoke's childcare in our house.
It's worth a shot.
so you're thinking we should deny his retirement?
Yes, maybe somebody threatening him or something. We need an exit interview or something. He is one of the greatest teacher. I worked with him in Asio, Wisconsin. I had a great experience working with him.
Okay. All right, so what we had
You're
our
saying
debate.
I bullied him? Is that what I just heard?
So we'll
I think
vote
he
on
was
it
saying
now.
you didn't bully him enough, is what he was saying.
So all right, all in favor of the employment recommendations, you can say aye.
No, one
All
vote no.
opposed?
I oppose.
All right, we have one opposed. Motion passes. All right, 8.1, possible Black Rock School schedule change for 26-27 school year. We have a-
Penza's going to talk to us.
we have a speaker.
Hi,
We'd like to
everyone.
welcome our speaker here.
I'm so glad to be welcomed. I am here to talk to you about a possible schedule change, well, a schedule change for next year for the high school. We are continually looking at our data to kind of see if we're providing the best education for our students. And there's a couple things we were noticing with the trimester schedule. One thing was our students took math and English only 2 of the 3 trimesters, and that's where our school report card comes a lot from. So a student could have Algebra 1 their freshman year and first and second term, and then not have geometry until the second term of their sophomore year. So really leaving a kind of a wide gap of them not being in math or English. We also looked at the data from our last several ACT and pre-ACT, and we noticed that there was just an impact by simply being in a math and English class when they took that test. And so we spent a lot of time, our building leadership team last year looked at a whole bunch of schedules to kind of see, is there something we want to change to? Is there something that we think fits our students, their needs, and our academic goals? And at the end of last year, we kind of settled on sticking with the trimester or a schedule that GET runs, which is a semester schedule, which has 8 periods in a day, but they have some classes that are on a block and some that stay in that skinny. So some classes are 42 minutes, some classes are 80 minutes. We weren't really sold on making a change last year. We weren't ready. We wanted to kind of dig into more data and look at those things, but that was kind of reinvigorated this year as we started talking to students about what they wanted. We were looking more at our data. We were seeing that we really needed to focus on our students being able to be in those classes all year long. We looked into kind of our trimester schedule, if we could stay with that and have freshmen and sophomores have math and English all year long. But as you heard, all the amazing science electives that our science team has, that would really limit our freshmen and sophomore classes from being able to take some of those electives. We also heard from students that that's a big reason why they come to school, is because of that choice in all those different classes. So we decided that just trying to make the trimester fit what we wanted wasn't going to work for us. So we kind of went through a whole process again this year with our guiding coalition and different team members to look at that schedule. And we really feel strongly that we need to switch back to a semester, have that ability for students to have math and English all year long, at least their freshman, sophomore, junior year, right? And even into their senior year. and just provide those more opportunities. That 8-period day really allows them to still have as many electives as we want them to have, again, a reason they come to school. And so we are looking to make that change next year. So that would be different from all the other places in the district. Like, we would be going back to a semester. We're not asking the elementary to do that. But really think that that would be where we go next to try to help improve kind of our test scores and our students' achievement and keep all of the things that make the high school a really good place in place as well. So a lot of things that we have to think about still. We would open up study halls because 8 periods is a lot. We have to figure out when we're gonna put clubs in there. So we have some things yet to figure out. We want to keep flex because that's really working for our students with that Tiger Pass to keep them engaged in meeting our behavior, academic, and attendance goals. So trying to figure out all those things. We don't think at this time that we need to change our graduation requirements. So that should stay the same and be helpful for students and families as they continue to plan. But that'd be something that we'll continue to look at because in that kind of setting, in that semester schedule, they can earn 32 credits if they never take a study hall. We're only at 26 for graduation, so we'd want to look at that and see how many students are taking a study hall, how many are not, but we're not going to make any of those changes right away. We want to kind of dig in and see what that looks like for students because we still want students to graduate. So something we're looking at. Questions about that?
So when you're planning, if some classes are 80 minutes, are you going to make sure that a student isn't in 2 80-minute classes back to back? Is that a possibility that
We'll
that could happen?
try. It could be a possibility. It'll be tricky. It's where we place them, but we can do things like that. So it's kind of on how we build that schedule. I've kind of made a list of the classes that I think would work best as like a block, because not every class needs to be in a block. Most of our math and English teachers are like, give me the 42 minutes, right? That is what I want my students, that's what my curriculum is built for. But our woods, our welding, our ceramics, our science classes that do labs, like those feel like classes that need to still have that longer class period. So it wouldn't be tons of classes. I would say more of our classes would be in skinnies. There will be just a select few that have that block.
I think that's great. It
Yep.
used to be that way for years.
Yeah.
And then
So-
we switched to the trimesters.
Switch to the AB block. It's been all
Oh,
over.
yeah,
all
the
over.
AB
That was in
block,
between.
yes.
We had a lot of we will not do AB days, like we don't want full block. We had a lot of
There's a big list
discussion.
of what not to do
Yeah.
and a much smaller list of goals.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we have learned.
Yes.
I think our music program participation, this will help that a lot as well.
Correct.
When you can take a 42-minute class all year without it taking 3 chunks in your schedule, that's a big deal.
I read your newsletter.
Yes.
It was amazingly good. The academic reports, the F grades dramatically down within last 2 years.
Yeah.
This is the 3rd year. They're exceptionally good. So your leadership and Nate Erickson's golf guy, your leadership in high school, rocking. So I was from last 2 days writing you an email, I write and then delete. I couldn't gather the words to admire your leadership and also vice principal too.
It's pretty great.
Yes, so thank you. But I will write that admiration later.
We have a lot of things going on, right? Like our staff revamping their curriculum, right, and really digging into what we need to do. We've made those expectations higher for students, and really Tiger Pass is helping a lot. Like kids want the ability to be able to leave or go to somewhere that they want to go, and so that's really helping as well.
I hear a lot of positive things coming out of the high school. And that's from students being very happy with how things are.
Yeah, we just want to see
So-
those test scores.
Yes, everything is going good in high school. You notice I stopped crying. From 2 years, 6 months, crying, things are skyrocketing. It's all
We're
about
getting some
that.
great kids out of the middle school too, so it's great.
Middle school is doing good. They have a 3-star in a DPI. They met the expectation. Middle school is rocking.
I agree.
And we can all agree that Nate's mustache had to go.
You know?
It's already
I
coming
don't
back.
agree on that.
You
He
talked
sits
a lot
back
about
in the
the
quiet
decisions that
place.
went into this, how you
Yep.
got there. I mean, are there some things that you're also going to have to sacrifice by making this change that you haven't really brought to light yet?
So we would get rid of advising in the morning. So right now, students have 30 minutes in the morning, where we kind of, it's a soft landing, they have like a homeroom. But we would build that into the flex at the end of the day, so they're at least still having that connection maybe once a week. But they would start class right away. In the morning, we think that could be a positive and maybe a negative, right? A positive that they're getting rolling right away instead of kind of coming in and having just downtime. For many of them, it might really improve that day, but that connection we might lose a little bit. I'm a little worried about 42-minute classes, to be completely honest. That's short, but we really want that flex time at the end of the day too, because we're seeing some positive impacts by students getting that second set of reteaching, right, and having that perk, and so we don't really want to get rid of that yet. That was when we talked to students, that was something that they really latched onto, being something that they really enjoy and love, and something that makes them come because they want to get onto that Tiger Pass, and we use that during flex. And so something we don't want to get rid of that at this time.
There's one thing is there's more transitions, right? If you have 8 periods in a day rather than 6, what we have right now, we're switching locations more in the building, which also means more attendance periods. So I think that's something that I think we're a little bit nervous about as well. And it's when you get up, I mean, it can be good to get up and move, get the blood flowing a little bit, but also there's a lot of things that can happen in that transition period that might affect that student wanting to go back into another class and things like that, right? It's a little more unstructured, so I think that's one thing that I'm a little bit nervous about.
It'll be a real change of student mindset. The amount of tardies for advising versus first thing in the morning academic coursework happening. So that mindset shift will have to happen strongly. They've talked a lot about the student impact, which is 100% how the decision was made. I just want to acknowledge the teachers have a lot of curriculum work to do yet again. They worked like crazy to get to the trimesters, and then when you adjust the class number of minutes, that might feel like it's not a big deal, but it is. Those teachers are trying to maximize instruction, that sense of urgency in that period. Now they're going to have more days but less minutes each day. So in the end, it's going to turn out really close, but the structure of those lessons as they work through those units are all going to need to be readjusted again. And I just am not at all surprised, but very proud of the staff for really keeping their eye on the impact for kids, because the math and ELA all year round has been a real driving conversation throughout this. Just for a moment of historical perspective, it was like July, the summer of 2020, after the COVID shutdown, and Mr. Chambers came and said, we need to go to trimesters, and slowly the rest of the district trickled along with them, and now the high school is jumping, and everyone else is like, we're okay for a while yet. But at the elementary level, the trimester really doesn't change classes. It doesn't, there's not really much of an impact. It's just how often those report cards go home. The middle school, there is some shifting of specials classes and stuff at the trimester. So everybody will still do the student success conferences twice throughout the year, regardless of whether we were in trimesters or not. And so I just don't want people to feel like it's going to be really disjointed if some buildings are in tri and some are in the semester. There's really very little that hinges on that throughout the system.
So when you talk about structure, I think it'll be really good for our kids to have a little more structure. Even though they might fight it a little bit, I think that's what they need. They need to have that structure, and I think it'll be I think you're going to see a positive impact by structure, even after graduation, to see that.
Also too, I got to read through all of the student and parent feedback when we did those focus groups, and so I struggled a little bit because one of the things they talked a lot about is our start time, right, and how early it is at 7:50, and then I'm like, oh, and now we're going to start you right in class, right? But I do think it's going to be fine, and students are going to adjust, and it's going to be what's best. But I kind of kept trying to think about what they said during the interviews too, and bringing that to our staff. So.
So somebody was asking earlier where the board would get involved in that conversation is if there needed to be a change in graduation credits. That takes board action to happen, but the organization within the day has always been something we've allowed the principals to do. So just wanted you to know.
Any other questions?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, moving on to 8.2, student attendance policy discussion for increased accountability.
So because we have a hefty agenda tonight, I don't know how much conversation you want to have along those lines, but at the very least, I did share a bunch of attendance information with you in response to the questions that you've asked. So if you want to review any of that, or if you had any noticings and wonderings after looking through that, I thought it was a great question to break down the conversation. We've started focusing on that chronic absenteeism just because that's what our state report card does. But when you start talking about truancy, that's entirely different. That is excused or unexcused absences. And so we've defaulted to talking chronic absenteeism because that's what NextPath pops up for you right away. But one of our fabulous ladies, Joy Gilbertson, helped run the reports. I could easily make charts on the excused, unexcused. So it is, there was nothing really surprising when I looked through it. I don't know if there were things that jumped out at you.
Well, it's important to me, and the reason I asked for this is because we've been talking a lot about chronic absenteeism, specifically looking at the Ho-Chunk numbers. And if you look at this, they're excused. The average Ho-Chunk student in most of these classes has got if you divide the number of unexcused days by the number of students, you're looking at like 1.5 unexcused days per student. The big difference in the chronic absenteeism numbers are as a result of the fact that the average Ho-Chunk student's got about 6 excused days. And so if we are conflating chronic absenteeism measure, which includes excused absences for all of the reasons we've seen on the form here, which are legitimate cultural reasons, then yeah, they show up as they're not here all these days. But if you look at truancy, they're not truant, at least yet. Now, this is only part of the year, but the average Ho-Chunk student has missed 1.5 unexcused days in this semester. That's not a truant student. So we need to be really careful about, and I'm not saying we don't need to discuss absenteeism. And as you can see, I think talking about the average student is misleading because there are probably certain students who are, if you look at, I don't know what was up with, there's a Forest Street number where it's like 45. Yeah. That's bonkers. I don't know what's up with that. So there's more to dig into here. I just want to make sure that when we dig into it, we don't confuse unexcused absences with excused absences and then conflate that with the chronic absenteeism that lumps them both together. I think that's really important.
And I have one question. Could you go back on the policy, please? This one. Paragraph number 4. I will just read one line. The district administrator shall designate an administrator at each school to be the school attendance officer. We used to have 12 months, 15 days ago, Jessica Bird. Francesca Bird. She was the school attendance officer. She does.
She was a Native American attendance specialist.
Yes. You remember Francesca Bird?
Sure, yeah.
And then, so since we have a great crisis with attendance overall, and that also affect our DPI reports, why not we have high school, middle school, elementary school, one attendance officer full-time, and the laws are written A, B, C, what they will be doing there. So I think so we should follow our policy. This is not the final reading. Is this a final reading?
This policy has already been approved.
Approved, right? So let's have a discussion. Why not we have 3 designated administrator in each school?
So I just want to be clear, Francesca is not an administrator. She was the person who helped us, who was working to work with families on attendance. if the board recalls, last spring, that was the one budget add that we did, is we added a student success coordinator for middle school and high school. Ms. Windsor is currently functioning in that role, and she shares her time between middle school and high school. And she is doing an awful lot of preventative work, meeting with families, meeting with students, constantly asking questions about why and what barriers exist, all of those things. Right now, there is somebody in each school, so like at the high school, Mr. Erickson heads up the attendance in regards to filing truancy when it gets to that point. And I don't know if Ms. Potter is doing it. Yeah, Ms. Potter is doing it at Red Creek. Obviously, Mrs. Kirshner is handling it at Forest Street. And then Mr. Nortman, I think you and Mr. Holney both work on that, or you do that, Mr. Okay, Mr. Nortman does that. So there is an administrator who does that. Each of the offices also have a secretary who's considered the attendance secretary, and they are super helpful in running the reports so that they can keep tabs on the numbers of absences and how they are going, so that it doesn't surprise anybody in the end, I guess. And so, and why we didn't hire more people is money. We don't have the salary dollars to hire more attendance specialists.
Yes, like Mr. Erickson, Nortman, and other folks, they are not designated administrators.
They are. I have designated them to be the attendance specialist in their building.
But then they have other most important duties to run the whole school as a unit.
Yeah.
Therefore, I was wondering, but now you are saying, is the money crisis? Sell the lot and bring the one administrator.
And so, yes.
Sell the lot right there behind you.
For 1 year?
And then that could pay somebody for 1 year, and then what are we selling the next year?
If within 1 year, if that person really make difference, then we will have, each school have that similar kind of a position.
And how will we pay for that?
We'll sell another jungle.
Excellent.
Hard to.
So this is what I was surprised. We've been crying over the 3 years. More than that, at absenteeism, truancy, SQs, un-SQs. We have a policy in place, system in place, laws are written, but the person is not there who can file the citation.
And so, even if they're sending a letter that says you are considered truant, there is nothing behind that. We send a referral to Jackson County Health and Human Services, and sometimes it's screened out, and sometimes they take action. When they do take action, it is typically a meeting with the student and family, and our school person just had a meeting with the school and the family. We've already asked, what can we do to be helpful? What is the reason that you're not coming? Is there a barrier we're unaware of? How can we be helpful? We maybe try to set some goals for that student, some short-term goals, dangle some carrots, right? Like, here's what we could do. Then it doesn't improve, we send a referral to Health and Human Services. They meet with the family, they ask them the same questions, they set the same goals, they do all the things, and only after they're not successful does it finally go to the court. The court has said, well, we don't want to fine them because then it's just a financial thing. So just because we have somebody sending the paperwork doesn't mean it's going to fix the problem. Like the world doesn't stop because they are now deemed to be truant. It doesn't necessarily fix the problem. That's certainly part of it. Some people simply don't care. I just had 2 kids that open enrolled out last week, and I called because they, it was for a virtual school, and that parent had just said, I'm tired of you harassing me to get my kids to school. We're gonna go to a virtual school elsewhere so we don't have to worry about attendance. Okay.
So quickly, there's a lot of reference to the county truancy committee plan. Is that what you're talking about when you send it to the county? Okay.
Has there ever been a time, Shelley, where the board has reviewed extended absence, like longer than 5 days or without approval from, like a prior written?
No, tell me more about that. What are you thinking?
Only reason why I say the board reserves the right to verify such statements and to investigate the cause of each prolonged absence. Parent notification of absence is second under attendance. And if you go down to the parents, it's the last sentence. So that's why I was like, have we ever done that before?
When Neola says the board, they mean the board's designee. They don't mean you 7 officials
Okay,
would
so that's,
technically sit
yeah,
down. Yep,
so that's where I wanted to clarify.
Yep.
The other thing, and I think I answered my own question, it looks like the Native American population isn't gone as much as the white population, the Caucasian. So like when you look at 4th Street, for example, there's only 52 in the group, so I'm assuming the number is high and it's a lower group number in that group. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep, and so the yellow column, percent daily
Yep.
attendance, that's your most accurate number.
To look
So
at.
of all American Indian, Alaska Native students that can possibly attend, 88% is their daily attendance, whereas the other groups are, the multiracial
Right.
group is also 88%, so that is your most accurate
Yeah.
measure of regular attendance on
Right.
that sheet.
Yeah, I was just looking at each column and I was like, how is that? But then there's smaller numbers, so
Yep.
they will.
I would love, sorry, did you?
I just said it was a percentage.
Yep, a percentage. If I could just go back one second, you had asked something or you had mentioned something before, and I was looking for what you were
The
referencing.
Red Creek numbers are, well, it's not accurate, I don't think, because these two chart, it says there's 45 students that have missed more than 5 days. 45
Unexcused.
times 5 is higher than the unexcused total on the other form, so it makes me think that that's a typo.
And so please remember that to be considered an unexcused absence, the state statute is part or all of any school day. So it doesn't have to be an entire school day, it is a part of any school day that is unexcused in order to reach the state statute.
So that sheet's data is incompatible with this sheet's definition for a day's unexcused, where it says 232. Or sorry,
What are you
107.
pointing at? Okay.
Says, Red Creek says 177 unexcused days. So if we have 45 kids with 5 unexcused days each, we're over 177, unless my math is really bad.
So the 5 unexcused doesn't have to be a full day. It could be they missed first period, and that is a part.
But on this chart, it does have to be a
It
full
is
day?
a day, yes.
Okay, that's what I'm
Yes.
checking.
Yeah, so you can look at attendance so many different ways,
Yep.
and you don't want it to tell different
Yep, yep, yep.
stories, right? And
So my question then
Yes.
is looking at this, we have, so take the number Jeanette just brought up with the 52 American Indian students, 78 excused days, that's 1.5 unexcused days per student.
what building? I'm so sorry.
Forest Street,
Okay.
this is the top one.
Gotcha.
1.5 unexcused days per student per semester. For Forest Street Elementary, for all the student averages, we have 232 divided by 322, we get about 0.7 something. So we have roughly the double number of unexcused days, but it's still less than 2 unexcused days per student. So what we're really talking about here is excused days. And where this matters is when we get those DPI report cards that we just saw, we're getting absolutely murdered on these chronic absenteeism rates that include all of these legitimately excused days for, we don't know what for, but we have to assume a lot of them are for religious holidays or feasts or celebrations and other sorts of things. We have a form here we've seen where people can submit these, and we can see that the Ho-Chunk students have 5 or 6 days on average per student. Is there a way we can exempt those holidays from the data so we don't get murdered at the end of the year? Can we cite the American Indian Religious Freedom Act? Can we do any number of other things to say these should not count towards chronic absenteeism?
So there was a lot to unpack there. Let
Yes.
me just go back to one piece. Your comment about it's about 0.7 unexcused absences per student. The problem is it's not. It's like 11 kids who've been gone like 10, 15 days.
Yeah.
So I just want to be clear. The
Average
problem-
student is a misnomer. I
That's my
understand
point.
that.
It is, the story of attendance is small number of kids, huge problems as opposed to large number of kids with very average to little problems. So I just want to clarify that. Idea of religious ceremonies, that special leave form is used very, very, very seldom. It really is not used that often. When there are funerals, that is one piece of it, but not, we don't see a lot of traditional religious ceremonies that go for days that students are gone for. I believe so far this school year, which is what this data is, we're still early enough that students haven't reached their 10 unexcused yet, or their 10 excused that they have fallen in. So what happens when a student reaches 10 excused days, if they have all been just random absences? And I say that because like if a student was hospitalized and we knew that they were gone for like 7 days because of that, when they hit 10 excused days, we're not going to immediately start counting them as unexcused. Mom calls in and says they're feeling sick today. We're not going to mark that as unexcused because they've used their 10. We're going to be reasonable and say, we know that like 7 of your days were used up really quickly in one shot. Or if a parent plans a trip ahead of time and so it's an excused absence, we don't immediately count those as unexcused. When somebody, in our opinion, has taken advantage of it, then we send them a letter and say, you've used your 10 excused days. Any further absences must be excused with a doctor's note. And so that's when they start accruing unexcused absences because the student will be gone. They will not provide a doctor's note. Then they count as unexcused absences if they're not for a religious ceremony or something like that. So at this stage in the year, we're not at that point with a lot of families yet. I think at the high school level, the Tiger Pass is a significant part of why our students aren't collecting more unexcused absences because they want to be able to leave during that Tiger Pass time, and unexcused absences prevent them from doing that. So I do think that that's a big part of that. Can we get them exempt? I don't know. I don't know what kind of evidence we would need of attendance at said, like that feels gross.
We have a form.
Yeah, which is used very seldom.
Well, if, and it's a big if, using the special leave notification can get funerals, feasts, all-night wakes, medicine dances, any of those things off of the books, then it's worth spreading the news.
Yes.
That could make a bigger difference for our DPI scores than any very expensive attendance policies we can do, and it's an accounting change.
Yeah.
And so it might not be possible, but it's worth
For sure,
the
for sure.
dive.
So we have, for example, if a student is on a school field trip, they're marked absent in the building, but it's an X exempt because they are still engaged in school stuff, just not there. So it's exempt. It does not count for chronic absenteeism nor, any of those things. What you're suggesting is there a way that true cultural events could also be counted as exempt?
Yes, and I'm not saying exempt anything that isn't
Yep.
formally notified that we have the receipts for. But if we can, and we could get, even if you could get 3 of these unexcused absences off the books for every student who needed to attend one of these things a couple times a year, that would make a huge difference. That could possibly get us out of that room since the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
10, if we
I'm
could-
clear how much chronic absenteeism weighs.
So it's so worth a shot.
Yeah.
Is there a way that the DPI, even if they did continue to keep it in, could they separate it out in the pie and so people see that it is not truly, like Alex is saying, chronic absenteeism?
I think I could sprout a third arm before DPI would customize our report card for us. But those are the local like footnotes, right? That are really meaningful locally, but they are not going to take note of.
If you drop the American Indian Religious Freedom Act on their heads, nobody wants to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
So I was going to do it during district admin report. Our waiver request was denied, and I pulled really hard on the Native American powwow happening Memorial Day weekend and us needing to be done. And I also thought that I would be able to sway them, and it was denied. So we will not be starting school till September 1st. So
Even
tried.
after being able to do the last few years starting?
we could still do them at summer school if we wanted to, but this past year it was really wasted days with the rate being so low. And again, both neighbors had above 90% attendance on those 3 days, and because of the social media communications here, we had like 30% attendance at the high school. It's not worth it. Then they really become wasted days and they're babysitting as opposed to being able to do anything meaningful with the kids. So we won't be doing those summer days anymore. Or not for this coming year. I don't know about past
Did they
that.
give us a reason?
Yeah, and state statute is pretty specific what the reasons can be for getting a waiver. But when Tom McCarthy, the assistant superintendent, talked to us, he said we want to be able to honor and celebrate innovation and local context. We would love this to be a local decision. We'd love all these things. And so I use data from our student interviews that the kids say that it's easier to come when there are intermittent breaks. I looked back at our last school calendar when we did have more, we didn't have a week spring break, but we had more 3 and 4 day weekends interspersed. Our staff attendance rate was higher, so I even made the argument that student achievement is benefited when we have our full-time teachers here as opposed to substitutes. I think I did a good job. Tom McCarthy said that he was going to use our application to influence legislatures. This is what local influence would look like. This is why this is important that you consider changing the law. So he gave me a atta girl, but no. So that's okay. That's okay. I can take it. It was still worth the time to put it together. So that was kind of on the topic, but not really on the topic.
It was on the topic, but thank you.
Yes. So I am going to talk about exempt for religious events, and I'm going to need DPI to tell me if that is a thing or not.
And just on that note, when we say we don't have a lot of those forms filled out, if there's no benefit one way or the other, whether they've done the form or not, why bother filling out the form?
Sure, and so
we can advertise this and say you really need to do this if there's a benefit
to the district.
To the district.
Yeah. A family said that it felt disrespectful when they went to a funeral that they had to get a signature on a form, and
honestly, if the form doesn't help the district and people think it's disrespectful, then get rid of the form.
Right.
But if the district can actually benefit from this, then maybe we have an argument to say, I'm sorry, and we can talk through it.
Yes, the sign.
Somebody that was there, an officiant of some sort.
It's the ceremonial leader.
Thank you.
To me, it's no different than bereavement in the workplace.
Right.
Yeah.
You gotta show proof that you attended the event. But, yeah. Okay.
I agree with that.
I will report back when I find out next month.
So, like, about attendance, I just kind of wonder if the admin team has any great ideas for board policy for improving attendance.
We have not come up with any great recommendations. The one possibility that we've heard from other schools is that if their attendance rate for a school year is so low that there is summer school required that summer. The challenge is, what do you do if they don't comply? Because I understand that it would be it's a very real consequence to retain a student, but there is so little evidence that retention past kindergarten is a positive. The dropout rate for kids who are retained is incredibly high, and so we don't like the idea of an automatic retention is what we don't like, but that's not helpful when you ask what do you want to do and we say not that. I understand that's not very helpful to you. So
on the
policy towards like our seniors and graduation, I don't think we have a lot of meat that says you need your senior year, you need to have an attendance rate of X. Like, I'm not going to say a number, but I think that's something that the board could consider. Saying that, if you want to graduate from this high school, like your senior year, your attendance rate needs to be above particular.
You most definitely can
So-
withhold the graduation ceremony from them.
Currently, on the board policy, it says credit in a course or subject shall not be denied solely based on a student's unexcused absence.
Right, so the
Yeah,
So we have
ceremony,
to change
Tell them they can't go
They
to
can't
the
walk.
ceremony.
Okay,
Yeah.
graduate.
you can't withhold someone's diploma, you can withhold the right to, the privilege of graduation versus the ever in the class, yeah.
Similarly, nitpicking through these things and looking for teeth, we've talked about how we refer things to the district attorney and nothing happens. We still do refer our truancy cases to the district attorney.
We refer to Health and Human Services because that is what our county truancy plan has requested it to be. We have asked multiple times to step around them in cases that are repeat, like year after year after year, the same family, because they get a clean slate at semester time, right? Because it's part or all of 5 days per semester. So once we get semester, everyone's got a clean slate again. We would like to be able to go directly to the district attorney on repeat cases, and right now our county says Health and Human Services is still the way to go.
And so when it says truancy cases will be referred to the district attorney as provided in the county truancy committee plan, their plan does not,
Our plan says Human Services first, district attorney second.
and
So
they don't move.
they don't always move them
move
forward.
it.
I always use this example, but last year, I think Mr. Erickson filed truancy in November, and do you remember when it was finally on the court docket?
I mean, I can just talk a little
Yeah.
bit. I mean, a lot of times, I would say they are very hesitant to go to the courts. There's been a couple times that I think it has gotten to that point, but a lot of it would be myself really pushing on them to do it, right? A second truancy filing, hey, I want this one to be referred to the courts.
But a letter
Their
from the
first
board
step,
help?
I think Shelley said it really, really well. Their first step is to, from my perspective, is to do a lot of things that we're already doing. And they're doing them repeatedly, right? And for a lot of, or not a lot of kids, but for some cases, it's gonna require more than that. It's
Sounds
gonna
like
require more than that.
legislative advocate opportunity.
Now, is that, and then that's the next question, is this a legislatively required step that we go through the county here, or is this simply board policy that we go to the county first?
It is our county truancy group saying this is how we handle it in Jackson County. I've pushed back and said, because Corporation Council, we are the county seat, and so that means it's my responsibility to pull together all of the truancy to make that plan once every 5 years. I think this is our lucky year again. And Judge Becker has come in the past, Judge Dean has not. Corporation Council, which was Sam Bach, has been here, and the Health and Human Services. At the time it was Jenny Mowat, or Dormady, I don't know if it's someone else now. But they, like I was told by the court system, people in this town don't have money, what good does it do to throw a fine at them? And I said, we can't even throw a fine at them. We can't do anything but like try to help, offer to help, and then send them more letters. Like, we need somebody to be the bad guy, and we have not found someone in our system willing to be that bad guy. Thus, Sheriff's Department stepped in and helped us with the simple truancy, which is an entirely different matter, but has been really helpful because that is something the school can immediately talk to Kyle. He writes out a simple truancy citation. The family either has to pay it or the kid comes to Saturday school and works their way out of that simple truancy ticket. I would love a system with that kind of immediacy to the long-term habitual truancy, and we've not found eager partnerships to develop that.
If that's being rewritten this year, I think Casey said it best, can the board at least submit a letter
Absolutely.
making a recommendation? And then do we know when that meeting is, when we'd have to have a letter put together by?
As you just said, the Legislative Advocacy Committee might want to get involved in said letter, right? I get to decide when, so I was probably gonna meet in spring, is what I was thinking, so you definitely have time. It would be worth it perhaps if there is a subcommittee that wants to hear from the principals exactly the process that they go through each time and where it lands and how long it takes to move anywhere. We certainly,
Is that like something that if we did say do this, send like a letter to the DA. Should we talk to like other school boards in the county about maybe doing the same thing to
We
kind of
sure can.
push them off the cliff a little bit?
I don't want to push anyone off a cliff, but yes, I want someone with some teeth. Melrose Maduro had their high school principal coming, and Alma Center had their elementary principal coming the last time we went through this. So I will send invites to both of those districts who are our county truancy plan has all 3 of our logos on it. Blair Taylor has just a tiny little slice in Jackson County, but they are typically not as involved just because it's a real small, yeah, it's a real small part of their county.
So even if they didn't pay the fine, is there any way you can continue to throw a judgment with interest on it?
Well, we talked about you can
Because-
take a work permit, you can suspend a driver's license, like there's other ways to make it feel a little meaningful, but
Because if they want a loan,
yeah.
you have a judgment, it does impact, so they might be more willing to pay it.
Yep.
It's just,
I've asked a lot.
Oh,
I've really
okay.
asked in the courts. And there, so then I often hear, well, there's just so many that it's just gonna be overwhelming. We can't possibly keep pace. Well, we don't get to say that. We don't get to say we have too many kids that are X, Y, and Z. We serve all. So it's just been a real source of frustration.
and it does impact the state
Correct.
and our scores.
And that impacts the county.
Correct.
If the county is getting DPI scores and their schools affected by this, that affects people's willingness to move here and pay taxes.
And if
do
we want to talk about
everything.
referendum, if we turned around our open and roll out train, we would not need to be talking about a referendum, right? If we weren't sending so many dollars elsewhere, we also wouldn't need to be talking about an operational referendum. So there's a lot of reasons for it to go well, is the moral of the story. So I will talk about the exempt for religious cultural activities. I will find out information about that. I will establish a date for the county truancy meeting and share that back, and you can decide if a group wants to put together a letter or what you would like to do. Is there anything else you would like to see me do?
Do you want some more things?
No, this
Are
is
you
my
not
job.
busy enough?
This is, I appreciate when you guys have specific asks. That is easy for me to meet. It is much more challenging for me when I don't know what you want to do and I try to serve. So this is great.
I have curiosity with my fellow board members. I mean, do any of you support some more teeth to being able to walk at the graduation ceremony if you don't have a high enough attendance as a senior? Because as far as I'm concerned, that's something that we could do. We could add that, you know, it might
just
not
one
make
year,
a
though.
huge change. I know it's 1 year, but it's also something that is a milestone in most people's lifetime. The ability to come across the stage and to say, I accomplished this. And
What if you did it for like all 4 years combined? If you missed this many days in your high school career?
yeah, I'm open to all of it. I just think that's something that we could take away.
I think
That's
that would,
easy to take away if you can't get to school.
I mean,
Like, you can still graduate, it's fine, we'll give you the diploma, but you're not coming to the ceremony.
I have
You
a
can
hard,
tell your grandma why you're not gonna walk across the stage.
I have a hard time not celebrating that. You know, it seems like just sort of spiteful at that point. It's the very last thing that they do, and like it's kind of like, I mean, a little bit like what you said, like you can, so you want to take it away. It's like, why? It's literally the last thing that they're doing in high school.
But you earn it, right?
I'm torn on it though.
Yeah,
'Cause
they did earn it though by graduating. Like it's like that is a huge accomplishment for a lot of people, and I just like there are reasons to do things, and the reason to do things is to get results, not to just punish kids. Like the teeth should be to improve attendance, not to punish kids. And so it's like we shouldn't be doing things just to do things. We should be doing things with the idea of getting results.
That would drive results. I
think it would.
So, I mean, I get the fact that it's gonna make it harder, and there will be people that will have consequence because of it, but
I'm confident
that's
there's
life.
some data out there that somebody's
So-
looked at this, whether it actually has any outcome or not.
If Carr's got his hand up.
Yeah, Dr. Kathleen Cunningham has a very strong point. Punishment is not a treatment. I like it.
It's a consequence.
It's a consequence. It's like you get a speeding ticket. Do you speed again or don't you?
Is it something that we?
Try a new example.
I think it's the same.
Children don't have a car to speed.
If we go back to what Nick said about starting in your freshman year, you're doing credits, right? So if we start that in their freshman year, so that they still know that you could lose a credit if you have X amount of absenteeism, you know, the chronic part of it. I think then you're starting to ingrain something earlier than if we're doing it at their senior year.
Well, it just doesn't seem right to just have the seniors accountable. You should
Right, and
wanna,
nobody else
you know,
accountable.
Should be the whole picture, not, I mean.
I think there needs to be much more teeth. Frankly, stronger teeth than this issue. I don't think just saying you can't walk around the stage, you still get your diploma is frankly any teeth at all is just mean. I mean, I think we need something harsher than that, but something less terrible PR-wise than that. It does feel like we can do it. So, but it's too late, and maybe somebody will. But if someone's got that much of a chronic absentee issue, are they just gonna say, "Fine, I don't walk," and take their diploma and whatever?
Probably.
You're probably not gonna care anymore.
So, and in which case, we're not doing anything. Whereas if their parents are getting fined, and there is merit to if you've got a poor family, fining them is not going to help things. I mean, there's merit to all sides of this argument. It's a complicated issue, but I would much rather have the parents getting hammered than the student.
If they're high school kids though, they should be accountable for themselves, not mama and daddy. fixing
Yeah,
their
but
problems.
I was a high school student once.
I struggle with it being our senior year. I wish there was something
Right.
each year that we could hold them accountable to, because if we expect long standing attendance behaviors to change suddenly because graduation is at the end of that year, I think that's short-sighted. So I wish we could think of something each year. I honestly, I've asked colleagues, and you know, some do like a whole school trip at the end of the year, and if you didn't have a certain attendance rate, you don't get to go on that incentive day. And like I have a colleague, they go to a Brewer game, and you don't want to hear this, but their community education fund pays for it because they get bring community a lot. I'm not suggesting any of those things, but it's a big thing that people want to be a part of, and that happens annually. And if your attendance rate isn't 85% or above, you don't get to go.
Does it work?
They're way better off than we are attendance rates, but they're also much smaller and more rural. And
Shelley, do you get any articles or where you have on your little blog, what is it, you know, your little group, from other states where they have had an improvement and then see what they have done? Because the issue is across the state of Wisconsin and across the nation. But there are states out there that have to be improving their attendance.
yeah. Unfortunately, I sign up for just about anyone when they do a webinar or anything, and it starts with build relationships with your kids, make sure you have a positive learning environment. Dang it, walk in our schools, I feel like we do. Like, it can't be Disneyland, but I feel like there really
Exactly.
is a lot of positive. So it's usually very soft things.
And I think we would have a lot of upset parents if their kid did accumulate the required credits, and then we say, oh, but you didn't meet the attendance, so you don't get to walk across the stage. We might have more upset parents by holding that back than if they got a fine for $10, you know?
Yeah.
Do you think that those parents would then be motivated to get their kids to school?
I think they might, some might not. There might be more that would say, screw you, I'm the parent,
I'm gonna pull my kid out.
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
gonna go over
I-
here,
But I feel like if we're going to put
Wait.
stipulation,
Sorry. Go ahead.
put stipulations that we should start earlier in like the freshman year, that these are the new requirements now. And parents, all through your high school year, this is what it is. And, you know, there can be stipulations if chronic, like Shelley mentioned, in the hospital, or they have a medical condition that would put them out.
Sure.
But I think that should be where we start. And because if you start them at the freshman level, maybe even at middle school.
I was going to talk about kindergarten because that is one where I have seen that factor in there, because kindergarten, the research on retention isn't as damning at that young level. And so if there are any academic concerns and you've missed more than X percentage, that could at least require a parent comes in and has a real hard face-to-face about fix this, or we're going to try kindergarten again. There's a lot of
Right.
foundational skills that are taught there that everything builds on. And so if we change the behavior at kindergarten, what will that do as it ripples through?
I do agree with that, because I feel like sometimes we just continue to pass kids on and parents don't get it. They don't care. And maybe if your kid is not meeting the academic standards, they repeat kindergarten. And I don't think kindergarten is a bad age to repeat.
I wouldn't want it only tied to attendance, but there certainly could be some other factors included in
Right.
the discussion.
So where do we go from here?
I'm gonna set a date for the county meeting. I'm gonna talk about exempt religious cultural events, and I'm going to share out the county truancy plan as it currently exists. I will just email that to you guys and tell you when the group is gonna get together again. And then you will decide if you want to, you had mentioned that you sometimes have availability during the day. Perhaps that's a conversation you wanna come be a part of. Perhaps the legislative advocacy group wants to write a letter. I will leave that to you guys, but I can start by getting you more information.
That would be nice. Thank you.
I guess you gotta decide off to the carrot or the boot, you know, right?
Okay, now,
We need bigger carrots or bigger sticks, right?
It sounds like there's already a pretty big carrot with the at least in the high school.
Oh, yeah, yes.
There's a huge carrot.
It still looks like 90%. High school's actually, look at the daily percentage, it's the lowest. 90%.
Human growth?
Attendance, 90. 93. 4.62.
You guys, am I up? Okay.
You're up.
you are up.
Do we need to do
Yeah,
anything?
human development.
Nicole,
I,
nice. It's
So
all you.
I am here to talk about human growth and development representatives. So I have two purposes today. Just give you a brief background on what the human growth and development policy is and a little bit of history of it. And I need and hope I need more representation for an ad hoc committee on the Human Growth and Development Committee. So on that last screen, Brandon, you had the policy up. So we have the policy around human growth and development that I will not read to you. It's in your board packet. But one of the things is that it details what we have to do as a school district around the topic of human growth and development, which is like sex ed essentially, is like those types of things for just that layman's term. And in here, it gives a really clear outline of who attends and the percentages of the different groups that need to attend this meeting. So it's an interesting invitation list.
but board members are included in that list, and then that committee will come together and make a recommendation to the board based on that committee's work. So there's 2 more documents in the packet. One is just a brief, we'll go through introductions, we'll talk about the policy overview, and then we'll talk about suggested changes to the curriculum outline. And so this is the curriculum outline that was agreed upon by and recommended to the board in 2022. The reason that we want to get together now is that we would like to make some changes specifically to high school. So you'll see a little bit more of an outline lesson by lesson of what is specifically going to be taught. And we want to shift the curricular resources. Our curriculum resources are outdated. We have a couple different options. Right now we looked at a textbook company, and we also looked at a partnership with Children's of Wisconsin, who had a grant where they've trained some people in a specific curriculum that has an outline, and they're very similar to what you see in 7th grade. It's outlined in that way with very similar topics. We're going to be making some recommendations around topics that we could pull out or that we could put in, and we'll be talking through with that committee about that. But we'd really like to have something put forth that's reflective of it really is about values and our community values, and that this reflects where we are at as a community, while at the same time getting out a really good product for our students in this learning. So I need 2 people. The date is going to be January 12th at 5:30 in this boardroom. It's going to be great fun. So, Jeanette?
Yes.
You're available?
I am.
Awesome.
January 12th.
January 12th.
I do it on my calendar, so I can remember.
I would be willing.
Yeah.
Thank you. That'd be great because you could fill 2 roles, and that would be amazing. I was really hoping you would as well. So both of you, that works. Fantastic.
Yeah, both are in medical field.
And
This
that's
is
one-
totally medical thing.
Yeah, that's one of the required categories. So thank you
Yeah.
both. I really appreciate it. Any other questions?
No
You
question.
said 5 o'clock on the 12th?
5:30.
5:30, better.
And we will come back with a recommendation for you the following next month from that committee, I hope. Or we'll meet again.
Alright. Moving on to monthly expenditures.
So the expenditures were in your packet. This did not make it into your packet. We were busy reconciling up until today. So the month ends doesn't mean the reconciliation of the expenditures is done, but this is the graph that I had last month that we'll continue to do. One
Will
thing.
you add it to the packet so that they have it to review more closely
It-
afterwards?
it's in there now.
Perfect,
Yeah.
thank you.
The one thing I wanted to point out is the same thing Dr. Severson mentioned, the 35% special education reimbursement rate. For reference, previous year, I believe it was 30.9% reimbursement rate. And so the legislature touted a 12% increase in that, and we've gotten 5. So it's a significant difference.
5% total?
Increase.
Increase.
5% increase total.
Yes.
Okay, so 30.9 to 35, so about 5. When it was supposed to be 12 and then 15 next year. So it's disappointing, but we'll see where it ends. Any questions?
No question.
The expenditures.
Motion to approve the expenditures.
I'll second
I
that.
you second it? Okay.
Yes, sir. Any debate?
No debate.
Okay, perfect. All in favor of the December monthly expenditures, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, signify by no. Motion passes. Let's see, reports, meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes as written.
Second.
Okay. Motion to approve meeting minutes in a second, any debate? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. District Administrators Report.
all I had was about the waiver. You already heard about that. So just so you know, the rest of the calendar process, I sent out to all staff, the number of staff days, number of student days, so contract days, student days, and that we would be starting after Labor Day, and they are all gonna put together some drafts. When we get back from break, we will schedule a meeting, and everyone who has put together a calendar will come together, talk through, see if we can consolidate down to a small number, and then we'll send that out for a vote. I hope to bring one to you maybe by our January meeting, because we have people asking when graduation date is in 2027, because they want to reserve the shelter. So we would like to get that decided as quickly as we can.
Shelley, did we have a math teacher that didn't make it on this list for employment?
She was on there last month.
Gotcha.
Yep. Oh, the resignation, not the hire. Marty, the hire for the math teacher was not on there for 8th grade. Has he signed paperwork yet?
I have not gotten his paperwork back yet.
Okay, is that why he's probably not on there?
Possibly, or I just forgot it.
So let me tell you about it. How about that? Thank you, Brandon. Because it is really kind of exciting. Unfortunately, we had a math teacher resign at the middle school mid-year. Kyle Barra, who has been a wrestling coach for us for quite a while, and he is an athletic trainer, a licensed athletic trainer. So we have contracted with him to cover several of our events. I don't know how aware the board is if you have had kids in any of our sports. Our athletic trainership has been very messy since the hospital. They gifted us Dawn Jacobson for many years, and she was amazing. Just really shored up that program. It was fantastic. And then they stopped gifting, and so we lost her. So now we started paying hourly to cover events, and we can't find people. Schools that live closer to a larger hospital, they have a much easier time. We really struggle, and we have some parents that get upset when their child gets injured at a game and we don't have any medical people there to offer any assistance. We also used to have, I'm going to call it a lump and bump, meaning like an athlete would roll their foot one night and then the next day they could stop in to see the athletic trainer the next day just to check in, like, do you think I should go to the doctor? Do you think it's okay? Just get a little bit of an opinion. And the primary function was also concussion return to play protocol. Andy Asegard and Elizabeth Johnson have been serving that role for the last couple of years, and that's on top of all their other things, and depending on the time of year, it's just been really difficult. Kyle Barra is he is contracted to teach 8th grade math for us, and we also gave him extended contract as our athletic trainer, and so he will cover all of our home events that require athletic training services, and will provide hours, approximately 10 hours per week between events and lump and bump services at the high school. So I think a lot of our high school athlete parents are going to be very relieved. That was a service that it maybe sounds like it's above and beyond, but most high schools have really fallen into that they have somebody that they can check in with. We've referred more people back to the clinic or hospital for concussion protocol because we haven't had the means to be able to do it. So we are very excited to have Kyle. He comes with years of experience in athletic training, and he's just a really great human who's been part of Tiger Athletics for a while, so we're really excited about him. He's going to teach 8th grade math. He is going to be emergency licensed to begin with. He originally went to college to be an educator and then kind of segued. He most recently has been in the business office of healthcare. And so we are very excited to have him anyway, and I think it's going to be a dual benefit, the 8th grade math and then the athletic training. Is Mr. Asegard, when I texted him that Kyle accepted the job, he said that I made his whole month. So, so thank you, Brandon, for that.
Is that all?
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to the WESB or other. You talked about like board training.
We did. I was waiting for some dates in January to make that happen.
Okay, so potentially next month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else about WASB? Seeing none. Conference workshop attendance. I guess the girls are going to Milwaukee in January.
exciting.
Other than that, nothing?
Yeah.
School board connection opportunities?
There's still some holiday programs and our winter athletics are fired up right now, so lots of good things happening.
I don't know if this is a connection opportunity, but the Vex Robotics Club
Oh yeah,
is
looking
looking
for help.
for judging, so I volunteered for that. Robots.
Right, future agenda items. Talked about a few already, and tabled some stuff, moved out. Any other topics? To talk about attendance anymore, or?
I was gonna, yeah, is that something that there would be, how would that work, Shelley? Would we have a group put together to review and change any policy or just?
So the policy committee has not been active yet, so that's on me, for not scheduling, finding the representatives and scheduling it. So, the attendance could go through policy or it could just be that ad hoc discussion. So I think when I get a date for the county truancy meeting, I would share that, and that will likely be later in spring. So I will let you know that date in January, and then the group can decide what you'd like to do with it.
All right, seeing no other future agenda items, we'll do a little reading here, I guess. The school board will adjourn to closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 1925 for the purpose of discussing the school safety plan, which, if held in open session, would undermine the district's attempt to keep safety strategy confidential. Do not allow individuals to plan around those strategies. All right. Roll call.
Yep. Michaela Conlon View, Casey Weiss,
Yes, here.
Jeanette Simonson,
Here.
Nick Helsted,
Here.
Iftikhar Memon,
Here.
Caitlin Cunningham, here, and Alex Wood.
Here.
It's technically a yes, you agree that